Now, these two images here were made from identical data using the same underlying tools. One took me 45 minutes or a little bit more, and the other took just 10 to 15 minutes. The difference is AstroWizard, a free processing application that sequences everything automatically. When I first saw AstroWizard, I assumed it was aimed at beginners who didn't know how to process yet, and that experienced imagers like me wouldn't get much from it. I was wrong about that, not completely wrong though. I went in expecting to confirm what most people assume. What I actually found was that the question of who AstroWizard is for is the wrong question to ask entirely. The better question is, where does it fit in your workflow? And that's what I'm going to try and answer here. AstroWizard was created by Luca Matico. You may know him. He's a YouTuber who wanted to make astrophotography processing accessible without the steep learning curve of Siril or PixInsight. It's a completely free program and it runs on Windows, Mac and Linux. And it takes your stacked image through 9 guided steps to a finished result. Background extraction using GraXpert also does color calibration, noise reduction, deconvolution, star removal, and replacement using RC-Astro tools, which I use anyway. You can stretch and enhance the color using a GreenBe Gone tool and also make final adjustments. If those tool names do sound familiar, they should. GraXpert and RC-Astro are the same tools many of us already use. I know I really trust those tools. AstroWizard isn't using different technology. It's just sequencing familiar technology in a logical order and making some decisions for you. That distinction matters, and I'll come back to it in a minute. I tested out AstroWizard on 2 targets from my archive: M27 the Dumbbell Nebula, a strong emission nebula, and the Pleiades, a reflection nebula with delicate blue dust clouds. The 2 targets are at opposite ends of the processing difficulty spectrum. For each, I compared my standard Siril and Photoshop workflow against AstroWizard on the same stacked data. And the results. M27 first. This is my standard workflow. I use Siril for pre-processing and stacking. I use Photoshop for stretching and finishing off my images. It takes me probably at least 45 minutes of work and sometimes much more. Now this is AstroWizard on the same data, and this takes just 10 to 15 minutes. The 9 guided steps are so easy to follow. It's really a joy to use, actually. Honestly, though, this surprised me. The background is cleaner, the color balance is more natural, and the nebula structure is well defined. For a 15-minute automated result, this is genuinely impressive to me. And if we look side by side, AstroWizard produces a cleaner background and more natural color than my standard workflow. My manual processing shows comparable nebula detail, but with a slightly noisier background. One thing I particularly noticed, AstroWizard's GreenBe Gone tool removed the green cast that appeared in the stars with my narrowband filter data. This is a common frustration with OSC or one-shot color cameras and dual-band filters. The stars pick up an unwanted green tint. AstroWizard handles this automatically in 1 step. In my standard workflow, this requires additional color correction work. That's a genuine practical advantage. However, one honest limitation on M27, AstroWizard applies star removal after stretching rather than before. On most stars, this works fine. On the brighter stars, it created some small artifacts or slight irregularities around the star cores. Very minor on M27, but it's worth knowing about on star-rich targets. When I tried the AstroWizard workflow on the Pleiades and compared it to my own workflow, well, this told me a different story. A reflection nebula is a more challenging target. Subtle signal, delicate blue dust, and aggressive automated processing can easily damage what you're trying to reveal. On the Pleiades, I had to make judgment calls about which AstroWizard steps to apply. Deconvolution, I skipped that. It didn't seem to work. On a target with very bright stars and delicate nebulosity, the automated deconvolution was too aggressive. Noise reduction, I applied it and it helped. GreenBe Gone, again it was useful, removing the green cast on the stars effectively. The AstroWizard Pleiades result with those adjustments is respectable. It has a clean background, natural star colors, the faint reflection nebulosity I was looking for is also very visible. But compare it to my manual workflow. The reflection nebulosity is much richer, more structured, the blue dust clouds have more depth and detail. Manual processing with full control over every step reveals more of what's in the data. And this is pretty much what you would expect, isn't it? The gap between the Pleiades AstroWizard version and my version is larger than that for M27, that's for sure. Reflection nebula reward the extra time and control that manual processing provides. An AstroWizard's one-size-fits-all approach to steps like deconvolution can work against you on delicate targets like this, which is why knowing when to skip a step matters. So is AstroWizard just for beginners? No. For beginners, AstroWizard is genuinely excellent. If you're new to processing and confused about what order to apply the tools, which settings to use, and why each step matters, then AstroWizard is removing all of that friction. You load your stacked image, you follow 9 steps, and get a result you would be generally proud of. That's remarkable for a free tool. For intermediate users, AstroWizard is a useful complement to your existing workflow rather than a replacement. Use it for the steps you find tedious or confusing. You can do so much with this simple tool: background extraction, color calibration. In AstroWizard, it's quick and reliable. The GreenBe Gone tool alone saves time I used to spend on manual color correction. Then take that result into Siril or Photoshop for the detail work where you want full control. I must admit, I'm seriously thinking about using AstroWizard as part of my workflow, maybe in the pre-processing especially. And for experienced imagers, AstroWizard is a genuinely useful preview tool. You can run your stacked data through it in, 10 minutes or 15 minutes to see what it can produce before committing to a full manual processing run. On simpler targets, when the time is short, the AstroWizard result may be entirely good enough for you. In any case, I wouldn't suggest that it's going to be a new revolutionary tool for you, but it certainly can be useful in this application. What AstroWizard taught me then is something I already knew but had underappreciated. The order of processing steps matters enormously. AstroWizard makes that logic visible and accessible. Understanding why each step happens when it does is valuable at any experience level, and watching AstroWizard work through its 9 steps is actually a useful way to learn that order. Where manual processing consistently wins is on detail extraction, particularly on challenging targets like reflection nebulae, where automated decisions can't account for the specific characteristics of your data. In other words, presets don't always work on different data in the same way. You do have to adapt, and that's where manual processing comes in. And so my practical recommendation is simple. If you're a beginner, download AstroWizard today. It's free, it works, and it will get you results you're happy with while you learn. It'll avoid a lot of headaches, I tell you. If you have an existing workflow, try AstroWizard on one of your stacked files. See where it surprises you. Use the steps that save you time and keep manual control where it matters. If you're experienced, use it as a 15-minute preview before a full processing run. It's the fastest way I know to get a quick read on what your data contains. AstroWizard will not replace Siril or Photoshop or PixInsight for serious work, but it doesn't need to. It fills a different role and it fills it well. Now, if you'd like to get my free imaging checklist and 50 must-image nebulae, you can get it at astroimagery.com/get-cheat-sheet, and the link is below in the description. Have you tried AstroWizard? And where do you think it fits in your workflow? Do you think it's worth downloading or not? And I'd love to know what you think about the results that I got. through AstroWizard and how they compare to my workflow. And if you're working on your processing pipeline right now, there's more videos in the description that might also help you with your workflow. That's all for this week. See you in the next one.